The reason I'm talking to you, Anna, today is that you've always enjoyed working with me as your professor, as a father figure, and you've always enjoyed and seen my ability to create things with my eye and my hands, my composition, using my brain, using the effect of light and other aspects. You've always been intrigued in trying to understand as to how I think and how do I express my feelings. And how is it possible that I can survive in your country, a country where the language I don't know, a country where I have lived so long, a country where I was married, a country where I have met children and treated them as my own children, and a country where I'm very loyal as a foreigner. How is it that I was able to communicate through so many children and educate them? Well, your country is a very, very interesting country, and a few things in your country attracted me. One of them was talent, the second thing was the eagerness to learn, and the third thing was the basic knowledge that existed in your country among students. Your, your country is an educated country. People know how to read and write. They're not illiterate like in Africa or like they were in my country when the British left. Everyone knows how to read and write in your country. Everyone's parents has an education degree. But at the same time, due to circumstances that were of political nature, they were not able to sustain their dreams for their children. They were able to sustain their dreams within themselves, but were not able to sustain them for their children because there was nothing that the country could provide for those children in terms of jobs, in terms of an industry sector, in terms of future research centers, in terms of future, for example, just for example, if I was to go to your country and I was to ask for that I want to have three students from your country in stem cell research, right? And do you have a stem cell research center in your country? They'll probably say no. So if I go for specialized learning or specialized abilities and capabilities, they don't exist in your country, not because that people are not educated, not that people are not knowledgeable, but because of the lack of funding. They're not able to integrate this knowledge and produce it on a platform to be able to show it to the rest of the world. Communications technology has greatly benefited your country being able to bring up this. But again, with the help of United Nations and other world organizations that have inducted money in your country and universities, but a lot of that has been filtered away by other people and not been put to good use to your students. So I just decided that whatever it is, I will use my ability to teach in your country and to explain to them and to explain to these young students the basics of what they want to know. My way of teaching is very simple. In my classroom, there could be 40 students, there could be 100 students. I have people sitting on chairs, I have people sitting on stairs, I have people sitting all over the things. Normally, my classrooms are very full. They give me an auditorium. And the reason for that is that a lot of people like to listen to the way that I speak. And what makes my speaking very unique is because I speak to a number of people in such a voice that each one of them understand and can relate with it together. I don't have to go individually to each person and speak to them, but I can speak to them in a group and keep their attention and make them understand that it's very important for them to be able to understand. Now, this morning when we were speaking, we were talking about intelligence, we were talking about spirituality, we were talking about emotions. And you told me that this is a very interesting subject, you should give a lecture on this. And you said, why not give a lecture on this in terms of calling it, what was it that you called it?
Decision making.
Decision making, right. Now, the first thing that I'd like to correct here is that you don't call this decision making. Okay? Decision making is always when you have a choice. You don't have a choice. You make a decision when you say, should I do this or should I do that? The thing is that when it comes to what I was trying to say is how human beings behave and why they behave. Human beings behave primarily by their thinking process. The thinking process is examined in their mind. Where is the mind? The mind is an abstract thing. It doesn't exist in the human body. The brain does. But if I was to take this room with three doors, and if I was to say that this room is the mind, then one door would be bringing in the thoughts of spirituality, one would be bringing in the thoughts of emotion, and one would be bringing in the thoughts of intelligence. And then in this room, I would be examining the thoughts. That room is the mind in which we artificially create to examine our thoughts. And what we examine is not the thought, whether it's spiritual or emotional, because whether it's spiritual or whether it's emotional or whether it's intelligence, this is only the way we feel about what we are doing. But what we actually examine is how we are going to react to what we are going to do. The reaction becomes very important to a human being because it's driven by only one thing, and that is fear. Fear is what drives us to our decision making. Fear of being wrong, fear of being ashamed, fear of losing something, fear of giving up something, fear of just being inferior to your friends or to your relatives. But at the same point, your self evaluation and your self esteem should be the guiding factor that helps you to override your fear. It's not that you are a very proud person. Being proud is one thing, and having a self esteem is another thing. People don't understand the difference between self esteem and being proud. People think that when someone has a strong self esteem, they feel that, oh, they're very proud. Self esteem comes by the ability to be able to convince yourself that you are capable and able to achieve what you say you will achieve. Your actions are governed by two basic facts. One is the purity of your thought. If your thought is very pure, your actions are going to be very pure. But if your thoughts are very impure, your actions are going to be very impure. So your thoughts are the most important things. But the creation of your thoughts has to come from your intelligence, your emotion, and your conscience. While you're creating the thought, it goes through all these three doors and it goes through all these three processes. And in these three processes, you come to a point where you come to terms with your fear and you say, no, this is the right thing. This is what I'm going to do. And then for you to execute it, you come to your self-esteem to be able to execute that. And once you've executed it and you find success in it, it only adds to your self-esteem. It doesn't make you proud. It adds to your self-esteem. It adds to your experience. It adds to your exposure. And it gives you character building. What is character building? Character building doesn't mean that in your life you said 2000 lies or 5000 truths. Character building is not that you have not killed a human being in your life. Character building is how you have developed yourself in by your judgment to be able to choose the right from the wrong, to be able to choose from the trapping of uh, trapping of you know uh, sorry, but my brain doesn't work so fast, but I already have it in my brain. But trapping of how, and this has happened in religion even to Jesus and to so many other prophets and things like that, where the devil has come and tried to trap him by luring him into the wrong aspects of life and judgment. But you are able to judge and control yourself. Today, Vinod said to you that when I lie down, I'm still not at ease. Majority of people, I would say 99.9% of people in this world only react to their actions and their thoughts when they are just about to sleep. Did I do the right thing? Did I do the wrong thing? Why don't they think about it when they're doing it? Why don't they think about it before doing it? Why don't they think about it while doing it? And why don't they think about it during the whole day? Why is it only at night before going to sleep and before closing their eyes that they can? It's only with the closed eyes that you can see your thoughts. Why is it that with your open eyes you can't see your thoughts? Why is it that the most important thing in your body you can only see when your eyes are closed? Why is it that you have to go inside to feel the outside? It's not it's not that the outside world creates you inside. It's you who inside has to create the outside. If I was to depend on situations that were being created from the outside, I would not survive. But I took the decision that I have to create my inside to be able to deal with the situation outside. So you have to be able to see how you are able to deal with yourself within yourself. For example, you're in a comfortable position, but there are thousands or maybe millions of people. There are 38 million people in your country, half of which are going through major crisis. They don't even know what's going to happen. I mean, they're fearing that if someone comes and knocks on the door, what's going to happen next? The phone lines don't work. They don't know how to communicate with their relatives or to who their loved ones. How do they know that this person or an 80-year-old grandmother is okay or not okay? Has the medicine reached her, not reached her? How many things are there that cross your mind? But at the end of the day, the most important thing is how you judge yourself, how you think about yourself, and how you feel about yourself. If you feel good, then that's good. But by doing the wrong thing, nobody in this world can feel. And that's why God has given a conscience to every human being to assess himself as to whether his judgment is being correctly monitored as per all religions, whether he is doing something which is morally right and immoral. What makes your bullet morally right as compared to my bullet? I'm your enemy. You're my enemy. Your country is asking you to kill me. My country is asking me to kill you. My bullet is correct. Your bullet is wrong. But your bullet is correct for your country and it's wrong for me. How come? What moral argument does your bullet have against my bullet? It's only your country and my country, where an enemy to your country and you're enemy to my country. But how does your bullet morally supersede my bullet? How does my bullet morally supersede your bullet? How come by killing you I will get a medal, and how come by killing me you will get a medal? To kill you, I'm using a bullet. I'm taking the medal from my country. To kill me, you're using a bullet and you're getting a medal from your country. How is it that it's morally correct for you and morally correct for me? How is it that this line has been divided in the sand to say this is morally right and this is morally wrong? Now I'm just talking in general about your own country, right now what's happening and what you all are fearing. That just like you said, I don't want my country to be divided into two, between EU and between Russia. Yeah? But how are these lines drawn in the sand? Who draws the line between Saudi Arabia and UAE? Who draws the line between West Bank and between Jerusalem? Who draws the line in Kashmir and in Pakistan? Who draws the line? Humanity draws these lines. No one else but human beings draw this line. And the only purpose that they draw this line is for their own ulterior motive, not for anything else. So who are we to judge? We are not to judge a government. We are not to judge what people's reaction is going to be. We are only going to judge how we are going to feel within ourselves about it. Now, if you tell me that, Professor, do you tell me that I should not care a damn about this? I'm Ukrainian. Don't you think I'm crying about my own country, what they're doing to my people? Do you think the Italians didn't feel when the Nazis took over or the Germans attacked them and took over their country? The French didn't feel that when the princes rolled into Champs-Élysées in front of Eiffel Tower. Of course they did. But then who drew the line in the sand? It was Hitler who drew the line in the sand, right? So your job and your feelings and your stress that you take in yourself on behalf of your friends, on behalf of your relatives, on behalf of your countrymen, on behalf of so many people in your country. It's beyond your control. But you have to understand one thing, that this thing will not go on forever. This thing will this thing will have an end. This thing will get sorted out. Maybe it looks to you that it's going to be sorted out against what you want. But it will come to an end. Nothing goes on forever. Maybe big things only become bigger when small things join them. But once they become big, they cannot remain big till they disintegrate into small things. This is the force of nature. Anything in nature has to become big with small things joining it. Even atoms, physics, anything, even your thought. Small thoughts put together, of each person together, creates a very big thought. So, when it comes to this and how you react to this, it's extremely important to be able to understand that you are in a position to differentiate your feelings on a moral ground, on a ground of intelligence, on a ground of emotion. When you come to your country, there's an element of patriotism coming from your emotions. Every human being is patriotic to his own land, no matter what. Even in my country, there are crooks, and in every country, there are crooks. But we are all still very patriotic to the land of crooks. But and all these crooks are stealing money from our countries. But we are still very patriotic, not to these people. We are patriotic to the land. This is an emotional decision. An intelligent decision is one where you say that is this in my control or not in my control? And to what extent is it in my control? Right? And then you come to the next one, which is the decision which is purely spiritual. Or you say that when it's not in my control, then leave it to God. I mean, whether I cry, whatever happens, Now that Ambika is gone, how she went, whether she died on her left side or on her right side or on her stomach or on her back, it doesn't matter to me. She's gone, right? So we have to accept it. This was God's wish. He needed us, so she went to him. I'm happy that she's with him than suffering and pain over her. So spirituality helps you. Spirituality is the way that helps us control our emotions and helps us give us answers to those questions that we intelligently cannot answer. It's not crazy that people pray. It's not crazy that people say there's a lot of power in prayer. It's not crazy that so many days in a year are given to prayer. It's not crazy that spirituality exists in so many religions and in so many parts of the world. Why would God let this flourish? He let water come, He let oxygen come, but He also let religion come all over the planet. Why did He let religion come all over the planet? Because He knew that human beings' intelligence is so inferior that He needs spirituality to be able to judge. If every human being's level of judgment was so high, why would He need spirituality? But because there are a lot of intelligent questions that cannot be answered, it's only spirituality that finally gives you the answer. At any age, at your age, you're a young lady. Imagine a 75-year-old person or an 80-year-old person. Their way of thinking is very limited, very set. And for them, there's no better answer than religion to all their answers. Why did my son come and talk to me like this? Why did my daughter talk to me like this? Why does my daughter-in-law behave like this? Doesn't she realize that I want to do so much good for her? Why are both my daughters fighting, both these sisters fighting for this house? I don't like this house. I don't want this house. Let them take this house, but let me live in peace in this house. So what happens? I still love my daughters, but all I look is, Jesus, help me. Allah, help me to bear this, to cross this, to be able to understand. So to be able to understand things that are beyond our intelligence, we refer back to spirituality. Emotional decisions are those decisions which are immediate, which are very necessary for human beings, because every action has equal and opposite reaction. Unless we don't react, there will be no emotion. We are not rocks. We are not just piece of furniture. We are not just sitting here. We are people who feel things. We are people who sense things. We have our five senses. But in spite of those five senses, we are getting information within ourselves through our aura, through so many other aspects, through even in this room, as I'm speaking to you, and I'm speaking to you, all two, both of you and all three of us, just listening to this vibration of what I'm talking is giving you enough satisfaction in your mind, in your heart, to be able to understand one simple thing, that whether it's your physical aspect, or whether it is your spiritual aspect, whether it's your emotional aspect, or your intelligent aspect, you're never in control of anything. People think they're in control of everything, and you can never be in control of anything because you cannot control time. You cannot control time because the planet is moving. It's not stationary. And as long as the planet is moving, you cannot control your decisions. Do you know that the speed at which you think is far more greater than the speed of light? If you were to live at the speed of your thought, you would never grow old. You would always remain young. You would never add even one day to your life in terms of time, because your thought travels faster than time, and your ability to control it is only in your hands. But to understand it, you need a professor like me. That's it.